My Comedy DVDs Part 14. Ahoy hoy everybody, and welcome to part 14 of a look at my comedy DVDs. So as before, we've got stand-up in here, we've got sketch shows in here, we've got sitcoms in here, we might have some other bits, films, etc. Let's have a look, let's see what we've got. First up we have Mark Watson Live. Very funny guy, Mark Watson, enjoy him a lot. He's known for his 24-hour plus shows that he does fairly regularly. This is just a normal show. But he's done, recorded in July 2011. He has a charm about him, an easygoingness about him that makes him entertaining to watch. He's a very funny guy. This isn't, I would say, my favourite stand-up DVD I've ever seen, but it made me laugh a fair bit. Lots of extras on here as well. We have the complete series Hardware, 2 series of this I think there was. It's an ITV sitcom based in a hardware shop starring Martin Freeman. So this was post The Office. I think it was probably the first thing he did post The Office. He might have still been doing The Office at the same time. Oh no, it wasn't, it was actually before The Office. Reading me back, ignore that. This was pre The Office. Created and written by Simon Nye, who did Men Behaving Badly. Also with him, Peter Serafinovich, who's brilliant. Ken Morley, Reg Holdsworth in Corrie, amongst other things. Ella Kennan, or Kenyon rather, who you'd know if you saw her. And Susan Earle, again, you'd know if you saw her. Played his girlfriend. Ryan Cartwright as well, yeah, was the other staff member. Again, you'd probably know if you saw him. I'm talking to British people here anyway, at least. Yeah, lots of very funny stuff here. Well performed, well written. Enjoy it a lot. The Complete Adrian Mole, which contains the secret diary of Adrian Mole and the growing pains of Adrian Mole. Loved this when I was a kid. Enjoyed it a lot when I watched it on DVD. So these are based on Sue Townsend's books, Secret Diary of Adrian Mole, age 13 3/4, and the growing pains of Adrian Mole. And they tell the story of Adrian Mole, a shy, nerdish, early teenager, his disintegrating family, his love for Pandora, and his friendship with Bert, an elderly man who he has to do something, you know, has to go and visit as part of a school thing and be friends. Very funny. The books are well, I mean, I haven't read them for 30 years, but the books are very good as well. Great theme song by Ian Dury. Just, yeah, really good stuff. Dated a bit, but as long as you were around at the time, at least, you would appreciate them. But outside of that, they're still funny anyway. This I've shown at least twice. This is Pompidou. My copy is signed by Matt Lucas. At the time, it was the only signed copy of this that existed. To Martin, very naughty Matt Lucas, when I met him at London Film and Comic Con. So this was a BBC Two sitcom, I suppose you'd call it. It's a largely silent work. No, not silent, because there is ambient noise. But largely dialogue free. Very, again, I say largely because there is some dialogue, and it's a bit like Mr. Bean, you know. Pompidou makes sounds, and he does, you know, say he has his catchphrase very naughty and no and things like that, but by and large there's very little dialogue in it, let's put it that way. Pompidou is a former, does it say exactly what he is? Just a penniless aristocrat who lives in a caravan outside his former stately home with his butler and his dog, who's an animatronic puppet. And it's just them getting up to things, trying to get some money, etc. Really very, 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 very funny. This is A Bear's Tale. So this was the series that span off from Bo Selector, and it sort of introduced the world of the Keith Lemon character as well. So it's a sitcom of sorts, based around a family who've adopted Bear, who was one of the characters in Bo Selector. His mother's played by Patsy Kensit, his father by Sean Pertwee, and various other people. You know, there's sketches involved as well in between the sitcom-y type bits, and Keith Lemon's their neighbour from across the road. Very funny stuff. Enjoy it a lot. Sarah Millican Chatterbox Live, and I bought this from her website, a signed copy. Excuse my dodgy nail. Coming up for a month ago now, I trapped it between 2 gas bottles at work, and it bloody hurt, and it went very black, but luckily I've kept the nail. Anyway, yeah, Sarah Millican Chatterbox Live, signed copy, bought from her website. I like Sarah a lot. Her stand-up's very good. She's got a great style, very enjoyable. Yeah, various extras on here as well. This is Astronauts, the complete series. So this was an early 80s. Have we got a date on it? Probably, but between 81 and 83. So it's 2 series, and it's written by Graham Garden and Bill Oddie. Unfortunately, it's probably the worst thing they've ever done. How it got 2 series, I really don't know. It's about, they're not in it. It's about a group of astronauts on a 2-man Skylab. Let's read this. 2 men, 1 woman and a dog are cooped up together in darker space, occupying a 2-room Skylab on Britain's first manned space mission. They are under constant surveillance as they orbit the Earth. Excuse me. Even on their visits to the lavatory, tensions simmer, resentment builds, and relationships become strained, and it's not long before they're plotting revenge upon their earthbound American contact and mission control. It's, you know, it tries to be confined space comedy, but it just doesn't really work. There's an odd moment that'll make you laugh, but very disappointing. Mock the Week, Too Hot for TV. I think this was the first one. So various, as I have shown at least one other of these already. So it's shows including bits that were too hot for TV, too rude for TV, outtakes, etc, etc. Another Ed Byrne. I showed an Ed Byrne at the end of the previous part. This is the Crowd Pleaser Tour from 2011. More hilarious stuff. Really enjoy Ed Byrne. He's a great stand-up. This has got one of the in-vision commentaries with Dara and Ed on it as well. Dara, brilliant. Yeah, really funny stuff. John Cleese Live on the Alimony Tour 2011. So he had a messy divorce. It cost him a lot of money, and he tried to get some of that money back by touring for the first time. And first time on his own anyway. He's toured with Python, obviously. It's basically him just telling the story of his life and his views on comedy, with clips, and it's very funny stuff. A lot of time for John. Met him, he's a lovely bloke. Yeah, very good. Some backstage stuff on there as well. We have Russell Brand in New York City, extended and explicit. So I've shown a Russell Brand before. I mentioned I have mixed feelings about him. I enjoy his stand-up a lot. He used to be quite fun, and I enjoy him when he's on things like Big Fat Quiz of the Year. But he also annoys me quite a lot as well. The way he sort of sticks his nose in things that aren't really any of his business. But yes, as I say, I enjoy his stand-up a lot, so I have his stand-up DVDs and enjoy them all, including this one, which was recorded in New York, hence the name. Some various bonus features on here as well. Very good stand-up. Joker's Wild, the complete first series. So I've shown, it must have been the second series previously. So this was an ITV show, comedy panel game, where 2 teams of comedians basically competed telling jokes against each other, hosted by Barry Cryer. well, there you go. Shows how long it is since I watched these. I was convinced. I'd read, when I was reading the production notes on the Monty Python Blu-rays, that John Cleese had done some of these. And I thought, oh, I wish they'd released those. Apparently they're on here. Or at least some of them are. Yeah, really don't remember his appearances at all. I might have to rewatch those. Yeah, various comedians of the time, some better than others. Lots of funny stuff, lots of unfunny stuff as well. This is Way to Go. So this was a BBC Three sitcom. So Blake Harrison from The Inbetweeners plays Scott. He's been dumped. He was studying medicine, but he's dropped out, and he's desperate for cash to help save his brother. His terminally ill neighbour comes to him and asks him to commit suicide, to help him commit suicide. So for the money, basically, he agrees. And so in the end, him and his two friends, one played by Mark Wootton, Ben Heathcote, the other, who I don't know, end up setting up a suicide assistance business. It's very dark but very funny as well. Laura Aikman's in it, which is probably my main reason for purchasing it, because I love Laura. Yeah, it's good. It's, you know, it was sort of, I didn't even watch it on release, but my mum did, and she said it was very good, so I picked it up on DVD and enjoyed it a lot. A couple more. We have Bob Monkhouse exposes himself. So this is Bob at a lakeside country club doing a stand-up set. It's pretty rude. It's got an 18 certificate. I think at one time he gets a topless Dolly Bird on. It was, you know, very much of its time. Well, I mean, you know, it was recorded in the 90s, I think, 1998. But of course it was lad culture at the time. But Bob was a master comedian, much missed, very good. The Eric Sykes collection. So this contains If You Go Down in the Woods Today, Rhubarb Rhubarb, the 1979 version of The Plank, Mr. H is Late and It's Your Move. So it's basically 5 of his silent comedies. Again, a bit like Pompidou, there is a bit, like, I can't remember if there's any dialogue, but there's certainly ambient noise and, you know, well, Rhubarb Rhubarb is based on the thing of where background actors are meant to be talking. They often say to themselves, Rhubarb, 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 because it makes the mouth look like it's making lots of different shapes. Yeah, some great stuff on here. He's excellent at these, particularly The Plank, which I also have the other version of, which I don't think I've shown yet, but will show at some point. Or have I? Or is it in that comedy box? I might have already shown it. But yeah, very good stuff. And finally for this part we have Cruise of the Gods. Very funny one-off show from BBC Two, but also a very important one. You can see 3 members of the cast there. So this is where, I think I'm remembering correctly, this is where Steve Coogan and Rob Brydon met. Also Rob met David Walliams at this point, and they have worked together in various forms. James Corden's in this as well. It's a cruise set. It's one of these themed cruises, and it's celebrating the Children of Castor, or Castor, an 80s apocalyptic science fiction TV series. And it's, you know, a fan club convention of them, and Rob and Steve are the stars of this show. You know, they've come on to, you know, earn a lot of money and meet and greet, etc. Steve Coogan has gone on to big success playing Sherlock Holmes in Miami, but Rob's character Andy has not had the same level of success. Yeah, you know, obviously, you know, lots of things go wrong and disagreements, but it's very funny stuff. And as I say, you know, it formed a lot of relationships that went on to produce some other great comedy. Okay, so that's it for part 14. Thank you for watching. Like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in another video. Thanks.